Hi, my name is Martin James Bartlett and this is my masterclass on Sonatina in A minor. Now, this piece is written in the classical style, which means clarity and your accuracy to every detail on the score are both very important. It starts in a very serious matter, and as you will see later on in the piece, the same theme that begins comes back, but it comes back in the relative major, so it starts in A minor and then turns into C major. And this theme comes back with a little bit more of a joyful character, which I would encourage you to explore in your playing. So let me just show you the beginning. So there, it's very important that your crossing of the hands that passes through very, very evenly. And this must be practiced so we don't get any bump between either of the notes. Then the next section is we have a crotchet here, which must be exactly the length of a crotchet, no longer, so that it comes off with the third quaver beat of the second bar. And then I think it's very useful, actually with the right hand, to create a tool that you use to play these sixths in the right hand, such as this. It means you will never miss them if you have a tool. And then we crescendo into the restatement of the theme. And make sure that all your fingers are working very actively. There's no floppiness, none of that, it's just very accurate. In the fifth bar, the dynamic changes and becomes a piano, which means, to me, a different dynamic but a different character as well. It's important to look at the phrasing in the right hand and really make sure that you are playing legato smoothly where it's marked. So the right hand should sound like this. And this is a little ornament here that should be very even. And after that bit, we then lead into the theme again for the second time, of which I might put a little bit more emphasis on it actually as the restatement of it. Therefore, I would crescendo through this descending figure into the theme. This section ends in the forte, but it's very important to phrase off this final bar. It's a lean release. It's strong and then weak. Then the next section starts with these crossing of the hand, which can be quite difficult at the speed. So therefore I would suggest that when crossing the hands, you practice it this way. You cross, and then you cover the note. You don't play the note, but you just cover the notes that you want to play. And this will increase your accuracy tenfold, because it means that in performance you will never actually go for that jump and miss the note, because you will always wait until your finger is poised above the key to play it. Then the relative major comes, which is a bit more joyful. Let me show you how that bit goes. It's a bit more of a fun character than the beginning. Then we move to the end, which is marked dolce, the coda of the piece, which means sweetly. So we really want to change the mood again. So I would suggest doing so like this. much more smoother, much more legato. And then we have two beats that are marked SF. Now these are accents with force, but they're still in the dolce character and in the piano dynamic. So don't hit them too hard, but really do give them a nice push. And then feel the rhythm of the rest that follows this. And then we lead back through to the beginning and end, as I said, with perhaps a slight rit if you feel, a slight slowing down, but making sure that you lean and release off the final two crotchets. So the recap is of course exactly the same as the first section. However, in this section I would do it slightly differently at the end. I might place the last two chords slightly to really show that this is an ending, like this. But be very careful that they are still the exact length. Even if you're doing a rit, it's still a crotchet and a crotchet on the final two notes. So some final thoughts on the sonatina in A minor. I think as this is in a classical style, it's very important that you really keep all of the lines even and that you look for a lot of clarity. We want everything to be punchy, the dynamic, so make sure the fortes are really nice and exciting and the pianos are much more delicate and elegant. And make sure that you phrase off whenever you can. Whenever there's a phrase marking, make sure you bring back the volume, the dynamic on that second note.